Right. Well, apologies for absence then. Sue's not very well, and Michelle can't make Wednesdays. What we were doing is we were looking at differentiation. We kind of started.
Yeah, please do.
So, in our trios, we were looking at differentiation. So, I had a chat with Michelle, and it's quite interesting actually. I suppose it's part of the value, isn't it? Is seeing how other people do it. So, I think in maths you tend to typically have one learning objective, and then she'll do sort of the teaching bit at the beginning, and then they'll have different levels of tasks, and the students kind of just, so use stars, is it?
Yeah.
So 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, and then they self-select the level of difficulty. And so it's quite interesting seeing that, and they go up and get it marked, and then they go on to the next one, so they kind of work at their own pace. So that was nice. I think what was interesting, just talking to her afterwards, was that obviously that seemed to work very well. What we did feel was that maybe if somebody was looking back through the work, it wasn't obvious that it was differentiated. So, Ofsted or whoever, so we said it actually would be good to get them to say this is a 1 star task or a 2 star or a 3 star, so that becomes a bit more obvious. So I think she was going to try and do that. For me, the thing I was looking at, so I suppose, when I first started, the idea of differentiation was probably more a case of extension tasks, to stretch the ones that finish, and then a few sort of support worksheets. But the danger is falling into sort of one size fits all and just a little sort of top and tail it. And one of the things they've been pioneering, which I was trying to get my head around in science, is the whole concept of the shiny lessons. I don't know if, I know you know, but so and the first thing for me then was actually the whole idea that actually rather than a single learning objective was actually to have 3 separate ones, and sort of say, well, this is your, depending on sort of grade D, grade C, grade B, depending on what set. And so you're actually straight away giving them 3 different levels of challenge. And then linked in with that, then you'd have a range of different tasks. So you might do it might be sort of more like a linear thing where you would have, everybody does this, and then once you've done that, the next level is this, and the next level is that. Or it could be that everybody does this, and then you choose whether you do the grade C work or the grade B work or the grade B or the grade A, whatever it is that you've got. And certainly I know when Susan came to see me early on, that there wasn't much evidence of differentiation. She did go back a couple of weeks back, and she said that there's much more evidence that the students were appropriately challenged at different levels, so trying to implement the whole sort of shiny lesson strategy. And so I think, it's a work in progress, but I think there was some evidence of trying to embed that in certainly in my practice. I think probably for me the most useful thing is just the whole idea of thinking about the 3 different learning objectives. So straight away you're thinking, all right, I've got 3 different things I need to address here in the lesson in terms of what we're trying to do. So I think that's probably as much as I've got prepared to say. One of the nice things was, I think, when the Ofsted lady popped in, she was sort of saying, well, it's good to see you using the different sort of levels and engaging with the kids, particularly I think with the new securing, developing foundation, that side of things. So I think there was some positive sort of feedback there. So, I don't know, has anybody got any other experience, anything they want to ask, chip in?
An observation would be, I think what does move all of us forward is thinking about, as you said, Andrew, the learning objectives, and so it allows you to focus on the levels of learning rather than the tasks. And there's a lot of that, we think we're differentiating because we've got harder tasks for some kids than others, whereas if we think in terms of what is it we want them to learn, then I think it's much easier then to talk about learning and show the progress they're making in their learning, which of course is how we're all judged now and what we're looking for, rather than them simply completing the tasks. So, and particularly when we're being observed, we think, oh, we have to have loads of activities and things going on, and some of them harder than others, and we lose sight of what we're trying to achieve in the lesson. But you sound as if you've come a long way. You know, your baseline was somebody saying, I don't see much evidence of differentiation, and now Ofsted and Sue have both given you feedback saying they can see it, which is progress for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes.
Is it harder work?
It's a different way of thinking, I think. So, once you get your head around it, I don't think it's that much harder. And it is something, it's important for us to do anyway, isn't it? So from that point of view, yes, I think it's a good thing. And what was interesting, talking to Michelle, we used to have this comparison. So she would typically have just the one learning objective, but then different levels of demand in terms of the work that they were doing, which would be progressively harder. Whereas I think for us, sometimes, we tend to use, or we used to use where I was, the ideals, sort of identify, describe, explain, analyse, link,
Link to examination
synthesise.
criteria.
Yes,
Yeah.
so there are different levels of demand, and so that can sort of fit more readily in with the sort of different things that you're wanting the students to learn. So, describing or explaining or analysing, higher order skills. And so you can sort of split it up on that basis, which probably fits quite readily with us. You're doing an experiment, so some of them might be just trying to describe it, some might be explaining, some might be writing a chemical equation that's linked to that. So there's the sort of base content, but the levels of what you're wanting them to get out of it will vary depending on the students.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry you had to do it
Well,
solo.
that's all right.
Thanks very much, Grant.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.